Hey, it's Micah with Simply03, and in this video, I'm going to be teaching you about oxygen, how to get your oxygen tank, how to set up, and how to know which one is going to be the best choice for you. So first things first, which oxygen tank do you get? There are two different kinds of oxygen tanks in the United States. This tank here is called the 540 oxygen tank. This can be easily purchased at weld supply shops, Praxair, Airgas, places like that. This is an 870 oxygen tank. This one requires a prescription in order to be able to get it. So the only time we recommend an 870 oxygen tank is either you already have one or you already have a prescription for one. Those are the only two times that we recommend getting the 870 tank. If you do not have a prescription or you do not already have one, then get the 540 oxygen tank because it's so much easier and less expensive to get. And a lot of people ask, well, what's the purity difference between these two? They're both 99.9% oxygen. You can look that up. 540 oxygen versus 870, both are 99.9%. The difference with this is they flush it out twice versus flushing this one out once. So since 99% of people are getting the 540 oxygen tank, let's talk about how to get a 540 oxygen tank. Number one is we have the zero effort oxygen sourcing. So this is when you buy a kit from us, your personal setup concierge is actually going to call the locations that are closest to you, and they're going to provide you with 3 locations as an option to go buy one from. In addition, they're going to say the address and how far away it is from you. They're going to say how much it costs to buy the oxygen tank, and then how much it costs to refill the oxygen tank. Refilling an oxygen tank shouldn't be happening very often. You can get hundreds and hundreds of sessions from a single oxygen tank. Typically, the thing that ends up happening the most often is that people forget, they leave it on by mistake, and then it bleeds out overnight, and then you have an empty oxygen tank. So that is the number one reason that people run out of oxygen quickly. It's not actually through using the oxygen tank, because even though this is small, fairly portable, there's actually tons of oxygen that is compressed right in here. So if you don't have access to the personal setup concierge, or you just want to get it your own way, how would you exactly do that? Well, you would go to Google Maps and you would search Praxair near me, or Airgas near me, or weld supply shop near me. Then you're going to call one and ask, hey, do you have a 20 cubic foot oxygen tank? They are almost always going to say yes. Then you ask, how much does it cost if I were to come and buy one today? They'll tell you usually between 100 and 150 bucks. There's some places that are going to be more expensive. If they're quoting like $300 or more, then go find a different place. But typically that's how much it's going to cost, 100 to up to $175, $150, somewhere in that ballpark. And then once you call them and confirm that they do have the oxygen tank that you want, you go in, you purchase it just like a cup of coffee. You say, hey, I need a 20 cubic foot oxygen tank. They bring it out to you, and that's your oxygen tank. Now, if they ask, hey, why do you want an oxygen tank? I think they're just usually making discussion. It's not because it actually matters or they need to know. You can just say, I am using it with an ozone generator for purification. So on the kit page, you're gonna see that it says like 3.0 complete kit 540, right? And what that means is the fitting of this oxygen tank, because the two different oxygen tanks actually require a different regulator. So this is the one for the 870, what the 1 to 5% of people end up buying. This one is for the 540. So I'm gonna show you how to put this one on real quick. It's very, very easy, but that's what 540 means. It's just the type of fitting that's here on the oxygen tank. And so it's actually quite easy. You just put it into the oxygen tank, and then there's the nut right here. And then this just screws on. So I'm just finger tightening until it gets kind of tight. And then I'm going to take a wrench, and I'm just going to put it a little bit more. It doesn't need to be much. You don't need to wrench on it. You just need to give it a little bit more. And then from there, there's the opening of the oxygen tank. So right now we have our oxygen tank. We have the oxygen tank regulator right on here. Our regulator is set to 0. So there's a few things happening here. What is the regulator doing? Well, that is controlling how fast the gas actually comes out of the oxygen tank. Up here, we have the valve. When I turn this on, if I didn't have the regulator on, it would just be spewing out. And so when I flip this, this valve is open, but this is a control valve. So the oxygen is now in the regulator, but there is no oxygen coming out of the regulator yet. And that's because I have another knob right here that's going to control the flow rate of the oxygen coming out. And this is actually important because this is how we set the concentration of the ozone generator. Now, the concentration is just the strength of the ozone gas. We have videos and walkthroughs and demonstrations once you make a purchase, but I'm just showing you before you get started what it's going to look like to set up your oxygen tank. And so not all the details are super necessary right now. Anyway, this is called the knob on the regulator, and this is going to control the flow of the oxygen coming out. And this is going to be connected to our ozone generator. As you can see here, I have the tubing going right into the ozone generator. And so now when I control the flow on here, it's going to be pushing gas out of this port right here, which is where all of our supplies, whatever that we're using, is going to attach right on the ozone generator. And so that is the basics of the two different types of tanks. Which one is going to be best for you? Again, if you don't have a prescription or already have the 870 tank, you're going to get the 540 tank. It's just so much easier, it's less expensive, etc. And so we highly recommend getting the 540 oxygen tank, and then you put the regulator on, and then you can control the flow rate of the gas, which we have more details on once you make a purchase. Again, we have a ton of bonuses with all of our kits. We have the zero effort oxygen sourcing, but we also have the personal setup concierge that's going to guarantee that you get set up and feel confident with ozone within 14 days of receiving your kit. And then in addition to that, we have the physical instruction handbook that's going to ship separately to you. We have the Ozone Mastery portal with detailed walkthrough video demonstrations on everything, as well as expert interviews on ozone. So we have a lot of resources for you once you get started with us and once you're ready to get rolling with ozone at home. So this was the oxygen video. Thanks for watching.